We did it.
There we are. We
Good
did
morning.
it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, Meg. Hi, Pam.
Hi, Tess. Happy
I'm so
Tuesday.
excited. Oh, happy Tuesday. Meg, this is the greatest idea to bring Pam in because, you know, we were all together at the Day of the Dog event that you put on, and we fell in love with you, Pam. And there's so much more we're finding out as we speak to you. And we said, let's go live and share all this information.
So let me start with that. How I literally, I mean, I get my celebrity crushes, and how I fell in love with Pam. And so here's what happened was that, we are, our philosophy, of course, is, fear-free, pain-free, force-free. And we wanted a trainer that was going to follow, know those philosophies. And Pamela said, I'm going to be really honest with you right up front. She said, if someone comes to me and has equipment on that I don't agree with, or has techniques that I don't agree with, prong collars, whatever. And she said, I will work with them until they do better. Wow. No shame, no blame. And you had me. So yeah. And your presentation was gorgeous. Your website's fabulous. You've got videos, you're rocking it. You really are. I'm really proud to be part of your team in any way.
Absolutely. Oh, well, thank you. I mean, what I do, it's so important to not really alienate anybody. Everybody has their ideas on what's the best fit for their dog. And I see my job as coming in and not only working with the dog, but also that person, and whether it's a new form of education or just setting a goal, to move them to a more comfortable space for them and the dog. So it's really important.
Do you communicate first or show them first? Or what do you do? How do you handle that?
Usually, as far as the training goes, if somebody's on like a prong or something like that, I usually do a phone call and I gather a lot of information over the phone. I have a list of questions and then I'll hear things that will cause me to dig deeper, further questions. And I just take that as it is, so that I have an idea of what I'm walking into when I go to the people's homes and I understand their perspective on things, so that we can then have a really comfortable discussion where nobody feels like they're being judged or that I'm going to come in and change everything they've done. I tell them, let's just tweak this a little bit, or can we try something and see how the dog reacts? So I usually will talk to them first before I meet with them. And again, it's just taking notes. And understanding that human, because the human is a really huge factor when it comes to working with the dog.
Okay, keep going, because tell us about that.
Yeah, well,
the humans, yeah.
So many homes I go into, people will say to me, can you just take my dog or move in with us? Because there are things that I'm doing that are my personality that I've learned over the years that work really well with the dog, right? So when I go into a human's home, I have to understand their personality and I really have to assess that relationship. The thing I probably see most is that there's a really sweet, kind, caring person here and the dog is just trampling all over him. Right? Because they've figured out, ooh, I can get away with this. Don't get on the couch means get on the couch because nobody is going to do anything if I do. But how do we handle that situation, right? Without bringing discomfort to the dog. So my form of training really becomes about making the dog do what's in their best interest. So, if they're on the couch,
you got to repeat
what are the repercussions?
You got to repeat that one. Making the dog
do what's in their best interest. That's a natural instinct for a dog.
Brilliant.
Pretty narcissistic. Yes, they love you. Yes, they may want to be working for you, but really what's underneath that is the dog is doing what's in their best interest. So really understanding that when you come in and working, kind of backing it out and working from that angle, where's the dog at with this? What is this person capable of? And working with those two personalities and setting a pretty clear relationship that, just involves some basic rules in the dog's everyday life. So they want their food. They want to go on a walk. Maybe they want affection from you when you come in the door. Well, what does that look like? We're going to make the dog work for those simple things that they want. Does that make sense?
So basic rules with basic needs, is that right?
They're basic needs. Yep. They're basic needs. Yep, exactly. Cool. And the dogs thrive in this environment. They need that structure. If there's going to be a pack in the house, even if you have multiple dogs, they will figure out that hierarchy, but it's so important for the human to be at the top of that hierarchy, or else you can run into some pretty serious behavioral problems in the home.
Can you talk about that too? Because, that was like for the last 10, 15 years, that's always been a buzzword, who's alpha in your house
Who's
and
alpha? Yeah.
pack leader. And,
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, and I stay away from the buzzwords because I feel like they don't lend as much credibility as they used to. I feel like they're been overused, right? The word alpha has been overused, and
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
And I tell people, if you watch a pack of dogs, you watch a pack of dogs. I have a pack of dogs in my house. It's really clear who that leader dog is. The leader dogs don't step in front of her. They don't. Well, I shouldn't say that. I just took an 8-month-old punk pit bull who is trying, but she's in charge, and she lets them know, this is my space. You don't step into my space. It's clear who's in charge. There are a lot of great videos out there on the internet of wolves, and it's really clear which wolf is in charge. It's the one out in front. Nobody's crossing that wolf's space, right? So making the human that top dog is what it really comes down to. And that's not natural for a lot of people. You run into a lot of really sweet people, especially in the rescue world, who their hearts are huge and they know this dog had a rough upbringing, and they bring them in and they just flood them with love. And the next thing you know, the dog is looking at them and thinking, ooh, you're weak. I need to protect you, so I'm in charge. And now you're 6 weeks in with this dog, and you invite a friend over, and the dog goes rah, 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 at that person, because they're in charge. It's their home, and they're protecting their home. So you see how that can kind of go wrong.
Easily.
Right? So I work with a lot of rescue groups. I work with a ton of rescue groups. I was the co-founder of a rescue group, and I was on the board for many years, and I did the adoption coordinating. I did the foster coordinating. So, I started taking mental notes, and it was a real great training ground for me to see what these dogs do when they go into a home with somebody new. And we're seeing a ton of that right now with our quarantine situation. People are adopting like crazy, which is awesome. So really giving them, and I work with a lot of rescue groups, really giving those folks that guidance on the right way to give affection, and also set real clear rules and boundaries in the home.
Okay, right way to give affection. Tell us about that. The right way to give affection and setting boundaries. Please tell us more.
Yeah. So real simple stuff. Okay. So for example, when I come home, when I meet my dogs at the door, I completely ignore them. Okay. Because I don't want to mess at the front door. So I make them go to a place. Go to your place. It's just like a raised bed that I have. My older one doesn't even meet me at the door anymore, but the two younger ones do. And I say, go to your place. They want my affection. They have to work for me. Okay. And they trot away with their tails high, and they love it. Okay, I'm going to my place. And they go there, and I say, sit. And then I come over and I say, hello, I missed you guys. I've been gone all day. It's so good to see you. So that's an example of me giving affection when I come home. Okay. So that it doesn't happen at the door. They're not jumping on me. I'm not getting frustrated because I just walked in the door and I'm getting plowed down by 3 dogs. Right. So I just literally point, and I don't even look at them. I don't even address them. I walk straight through them until they go to a spot and they sit and hold position. And then I say hello to them. Now, it doesn't always have to be quite that structured. Of course, you're hanging out in the evenings, your dog looks cute, go up and give them a little kiss. But setting these rules around the house in their daily life is really important. Walks, they love going on walks, right? So you make them do something for your walk. A lot of people will make the dog sit before you put the leash on them. Maybe you make them, again, go to another spot, go to a place, go to your bed and sit. And I'll leash you up here. Okay, let's go. Right? You can make them stop before you even open the door. Real simple, basic stuff, right? But now we've got some nice structure for the dog, so they don't just go flying out the front door when we go on a walk. You're going to sit. I'm going to open the door. We're going to hang out here for a second, watch the world go by, and then I'm going to tell you, hey, look up at me. Okay? So the dog has to look at you for permission to go out the door. Okay, you can go. Let's go for our walk now. Right? So they get into these nice set patterns and routines around the home. So you stop impulsive behavior, you stop any sort of guarding behavior, and the dog is looking to you because you're the one that's controlling what's happening.
Wow.
I love that. I love that whole thinking exercise for them to create another exercise instead of just running out the door. I love everything you're saying.
Wow. Okay. So
I love it. I love it.
I have another question, because let's back into that. So we, a lot of us know sit, down, stay, but place, go to your place is brilliant. And we all need that, because if I'm in a football field, when we can get out of our homes again. And my dog is, possibly off leash somewhere. Either I'm the place or there's, at the end of my finger. How do you judge that with the person and also with a location?
How with a location? Yeah, you always start it in the home. Yep, always starting it in the home. I mean, place is one of my favorite things to train because it's really easy for people to do. It doesn't feel like this crazy, overwhelming training plan, right? So I'll write up a training plan for folks and say, okay, you're giving training treats throughout the day. So let's do this 15 times a day with a little tiny training treat. And they don't get that tiny training treat unless they go to place. And you make a hand move. I don't know if you can see me, go to your place and you point to that spot. Right? And they boop, 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 and they chop their little heinies right over there. Sit. Yes, good job. And you give them the treat. Okay. So you can easily train place. You always start with positive. Everything good in that dog's life, they go to place to get. So in my home, when anyone's in the kitchen.
I don't want to interrupt, but can you toss a treat to the place first? No?
I prefer to really lure them and guide them.
Okay.
Because I want them following your body movement. Yep. So I want to be able to point from my kitchen, right? When my dogs come in, I'm making lunch and they're looking up at me drooling and I say, go to your place. I want them to just boom across the room, sitting in their spot. And they'll do it because they want food.
All right, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yep. So luring them to begin with, let them see the treat. I don't know. Here we go. There's my hand. Let them see the treat in your hand and put it right in front of their nose. Lure, go to place. Sit. Good job. Okay. So we can start that simple just with some training treats and do it 20 times a day. Get the kids involved, get every family member involved and lure the dogs to place and sit. And you can call it whatever you want. Some people have beds set up. Some people may have a rug that they like to use. It's wonderful. I have a client with a baby in a high chair and she has a dojo, a giant 8-month-old dojo. And she is pushing that high chair around because she's trying to get the Cheerios that fell and the mac and cheese under, and the baby's like, wah. So we did place. And we let her have a piece of Cheerio, but she only gets it if she goes to place. So she's learned, I don't take treats off the high chair. I hold position here, and my master, my human, my leader will give me some of it. So all I have to do is sit here and wait. So it's awesome.
And what a safe way to interact with the baby, especially with a big dog like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Oh,
yeah, and then the baby's not scared.
That's a big dog.
That's a big dog. Really cool too. I mean, things like leash, right? Like I said earlier, they want to go for a walk. I have one that wears a gentle leader around her nose because she's a puller, and boy, she loves her walks, but she hates that gentle leader. She just, she looks at me and goes, I don't know. Yeah. She's just weighing her options. Do I really want to go for a walk that badly that she's going to put this collar on me? So there's no thought. Yeah, she's thinking about it. So instead, I say, go to place. And she goes, boop, 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 sit. And I can go over and put the leader on and we go. So there's no chasing her around. There's no dodging. There's no stress coming out of her. She just goes straight to place. So it becomes a real nice conditioned response. And the dog doesn't have to make a choice. I'm going to tell you, just go there. Okay, this is what you do. And, you'll get what you want when you get to that spot.
Dogs seem to love the whole direction, right? They want you to be able to make the call for them. Otherwise, they're going to go off and do whatever they want. So making that call, I love that whole go to place before you put the gentle lead on. Because I think most dogs I've seen don't really like putting that on, or once they get it on, they want it off. So they just focus on a different task, like go to place and be rewarded for that. But I love that idea. That's a great tip.
And it's, conditioned.
Yeah, and we forget how smart they are. They need to use their brain. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Tess, it looked like you had another question or a.
Well, God, there's so much. We need to do 3 hours here.
I'm in.
We only have a few, we have about 10 minutes or so left. But the one thing, Pam, we were talking about, going outside. Now we're getting the leash on, the gentle leader on. We're going outside today. We're going outside, and my dogs are seeing people with masks on. And you had kind of, mentioned that.
Yeah.
And so I want to hear what you have to say about this happening. What about dogs seeing people covered up? Are they like the mask bandits? What's happening with dogs and people in masks right now?
Yeah, it's really, these a lot of them are reacting Some of them are not, but they may, right? When they open up and we can have guests in our home, but they can only be masked when they come in the home, you may start to see some reaction. So if you're not seeing it on walks yet, your dog may just not notice it because they've got the nose to the ground, or they're overwhelmed with their environment. But I would assume that most people are going to run into this if they have a dog, that's under the age of like 6 or 7, and a young dog is really going to notice it. So I did for my clients this week, I sent out a tip of the week to them, and I did it on the mask. So it's really pretty easy to desensitize a mask. It's just not something we think of. And it's so unusual to your dog. And it's something that is completely unfamiliar to them. And not only that, we've just taken away the rest of the face. And many dogs are very threatened by eye contact. So we're staring at things. We're probably staring at things more than we used to. I know I go to the grocery store and you're making this weird eye contact with everybody because all you can see is their eyes, right? So we're doing that to our dogs too. And, in a very natural, instinctual way, eye contact can be very threatening to a lot of dogs, especially those that are a little bit more instinctual. If you see 2 dogs come together, locking eyes head on, probably not a very good situation. They're challenging each other. So if they're feeling that from a human, you may hear the bark. You may see them back away or going toward it because it's a perceived threat of some kind. So there's a lot of things we can do. Put the mask on, take the mask off, but let your dog see you put the mask on. Okay, so they understand what's going on. Don't just come down the stairs with the mask on one day and be like, "Rawr."
Yeah,
because that's not good. You want to be right in front of them. Put the mask on, take the mask off. Put it on, take it off, let the dog smell it. Let them check it out. Let them see what it is. If they're still barking at it, even in your presence, then let them see it and you bring in your food, bring in a nice positive reward, give them a treat. If they're still really struggling with it, leave a few masks around the house. And then in a few days, try it again. So you take it on and you take it off. Okay. And then if they're doing well with it, I'm encouraging my clients once or twice a day, have your kids do it as well. Put the mask on when you're engaging with the dog. So if you're working some training sessions or when you go to feed them, put the mask on. Or if you have a super playful dog that you're playing with often, wear the mask while you play with them. So they're just getting used to seeing it on you.
Very good. Okay? Yeah, I love that.
It'll really prepare them. Yeah, so it's pretty basic stuff, but it's just stuff
in the
house.
Think of. Okay. Yeah, that's cool. In the house, right? In the house, and use it as part of your training play time. Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yep. In the house. And then, when we do open up or, you have a friend stopping by and they're in a mask, ask them to take it off at like a 10-foot distance so your dog can see their face, so they can see the rest of the face, and then make a whole, routine of right in front of the dog putting that mask back on so they can see, she just put something on her face. Same thing with people in hats. Take the hat off.
And do we set up that reaction too as people when we can't see the full expression of a person? Do we kind of set that up through our leash and down to the dog?
Yeah, I do think there is a tension, right, that's running amongst us. I mean, you probably notice, like I do, the grocery stores don't feel quite as friendly because we can't read each other well.
Right.
Yes, I'm smiling under my mask. So I do think there's a tension out there in the world. And I think most of us feel it right now because it's so uncertain. And as you guys know so well, your dogs feel that from you. And if it's in their mind associated with that person right there in the mask, then it's going to be a negative association for them.
Okay.
So lots you can do, but
I know that both of you, wow, you talk about rescues. If we could go to statistics, I know Tess has 1 in her lap and 2 sleeping in the living room. And Tess is known for taking senior dogs and dogs with medical issues, etc. So I saw some beautiful news. I think it was Palm Beach, Florida, for the first time the county shelters are empty, which is great news. Amazing.
That's great.
For the first time in like 30, 40 years. That's great news. And then let's be honest, maybe in a week or two, we'll start getting the phone calls about behavior, introductions into the home, and multi-species. So if you don't mind, just take a quick minute and help us there. How do we, introduce, think we can desensitize in that word. Like if they come in and there are multiple dogs already, or cats, or rats or ferrets, whatever. Yeah, how do we help them adjust to
the
that?
new dog in the home?
Yeah,
Well,
and the old dogs, and the
the old
existing
dogs.
dogs, right?
Right. There's so much that goes into that. But if there's one real hard, fast rule I tell people, it's have that dog on the leash in the house.
Okay.
For the first 6 weeks, have them on the leash. You can drop it. They can drag it around. The dog knows, though, that they can't just do whatever they want. So, and it also commits you to really keeping an eye on that dog. So you can start to understand that dog. You're watching body language. You're watching how they're engaging. If you have another dog in the home that's trying over and over to engage with that new dog, have that one on leash too. It just gives you control over the situation. You really want to keep everybody calm. You don't want this crazy play going on, because most of the time you've got something called social ranking going on, not necessarily play, unless you've got puppies. Puppies are a whole nother story, okay? But any dog over the age of 7 or 8 months comes into a new home where there's another dog, there's going to be a ranking that happens. There's a hierarchy that happens. So if you see this crazy play, especially, up on hind legs and front paws in the air, and they're zooming around the yard, I would stop it immediately and keep everybody calm. The goal up front is to get them to learn to exist together without challenging each other. And again, back to what we were talking about before, this is where you are the one who's in charge of what's happening in this hierarchy in your home. Okay. And the leash really helps you do that.
And I love that. And it's usually what, about a 6-8 foot leash or
yeah,
longer?
I love a 6 foot leash. Yeah. If you've got a little dog, you don't have to go quite that long. And I tell people, just get a thin cheapo that can clip on. I'm a big fan of a slip leash that goes all the way around their neck. Then you don't even have a collar on them. It's just the whole thing is a leash, and they're soft. They're not banging into your baseboards, hurting things. Of course, you want to keep your eye on it because they can get stuck on things, but, and don't ever have a leash on them when you're not home. I mean,
let me ask you, because I think people will want to know about behind a baby gate, 1, 2, 3 behind a baby gate, or tethering. What are your ideas out there?
Yeah, the baby gates are fantastic. You don't want to give a new dog in your home, carte blanche, because you're probably going to find a poop in your closet, or, a chewed up bedpost. Like, they're going to go do something. So limit their space so that they don't fail. You're really setting them up to succeed if you do that. There's nothing wrong with it. And they slowly earn, more space in your home that you manage them through. And that's, again, the leash comes in handy. But baby gates are great. Crates are awesome. I mean, not every dog takes to a crate, but if they do, it's a fantastic thing to keep them safe when you're not around. And if you have space in your backyard that's too, if it's too much space, or there's stuff you don't want your dog getting into, I am a huge fan of a 50-foot lead in the backyard. Okay. And the dog really learns to just be calm out there, chew their bone, go lay in the sun, and they just come down a notch. And you're really encouraging just a nuts.
And again,
play can come at any time.
And you've created a safe space for them. This is my space, and these are my boundaries, and I'm really going to be happy with that. Almost like a baby in a playpen or something like that. Like, I can sit here and watch the world go by. Pam, we're down to 2 minutes. Tell us more, and tell us about Dog Sense Community.
Oh, awesome. I'd love to. So Dog Sense Community is something that my partner and I created about a year ago, crazily enough, before the pandemic hit. But we went to an online training platform where I could be doing remote training with folks via Zoom calls and personalized training plans. But I've got hundreds of training videos up on the site, from a puppy fundamentals course to a leash skills course, all the way down to different types of certification. I'm working on a guarding series right now. What else do I have up there? All obedience commands. So tons of videos. Wow. One piece of the site that's really near and dear to my heart is the rescue portal that is free to rescue groups. And I'm really working right now to get the word out on this. So any rescue groups are welcome to come and do it. Again, it's a free service to them where we set up their own portal. They can invite any volunteers that they want. It's a private discussion page for them where they can communicate back and forth with their volunteers. There's a calendar there if they choose to use it. Some don't, some do. And there's also free training videos for their fosters. So I think it's about 42 different training videos that start with body language, understanding what's going on with that dog in the home, and setting some of these rules that we're talking about. You know, it gives them permission to say, okay, we're going to be doing this every day now. And it just really sets them up nicely. Some of the rescue groups are making it mandatory for their fosters. So there is a little quiz that goes along the way with the videos, and they get a certification at the end when they're done. It just depends on the rescue group, but
that's neat.
But the portal's awesome.
That is so cool, and so kind of you. I mean, what a beautiful thing to do. I mean, I really that's amazing. I'm so glad you're doing that for the rescues. So,
well, they need it. They need it. I mean, these people work their tails off. It's blood, sweat, and tears. And, you know, I wanted to give them something that would help.
Yeah, we want them to be successful and stay in that forever home. And that's exactly what they need. I mean, people have in their heart, they want to go ahead and adopt and rescue. Thank God. Now, once they get them home, they might not have the talent or the background of experience to know what to do. And you're giving it to them for free.
Yeah, it's free. It's free to the rescues. Just a membership on Dog Sense Community is free. I have discussion pages there. Anyone can go in to ask the trainer and ask me any question they want. There's no charge. I send out weekly video training tips to your email. So this week was the mask. I did the training tip on the mask. So, you know, the page itself was designed to bring together a nice community of dog lovers and get people talking. You know, I found a new bone. My dog loves it. Oh my gosh. And post it on the site so other people can see it.
I love you even more.
Like, oh my God. Okay, fan club. I mean, seriously, fantastic.
I'm like, oh my God.
All right. Hey, listen, let's end on a good note, a beautifully good note. I adore you both. And I mean, the work that you do is amazing, just amazing. So part 2, as soon as we can do it. All right, Pam?
Thanks, Pam.
I'm in anytime. I'd love you guys. Thank you for having me.
Everybody have a great day.
It was a pleasure. Everyone stay home and be well. Thank you.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Amazing.